Hey everyone, welcome back. You are listening to All Effed Up with me, Will. And as always, I appreciate your time and interest in my show because, I'm trying to build something and really trying to make a stride to this new path that I'm choosing. It's starting out as a hobby, hope it becomes more. But we're not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into today's episode. So here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting through the week just like every week because every day can just bring something new. But just wanted kind of to talk about how in the last ep I was just kind of having a rough few days, as you can on occasion. Just really unable to focus and get my thoughts in order and to record, and as a result, I re recorded different tracks for the same app multiple times. I wasn't liking what I was hearing. As I was listening back, I tried to decide where I need to cut, edit, and all that, and then just deciding to scrap the whole thing a few different times just because I wasn't liking what I was hearing. It just did not come together, it did not sound right. And on top of that, just feeling drained, and I think it was just spent I was drained from from fighting back anxiety and not even realizing it. I'd been flooded with discouragement and doubt, and that's something I deal with every day. Some days I'll get up and I'll be thinking to myself, don't bother. What's the point? Just like every day is the same. But and I just hit a point where I think I just needed to take a little extra rest for myself to reset my brain. So I'm actually going to take a extra day off of work this week. Granted, I'll still have to get up and to take my son to the doctor just to have get a checkup and everything. Then after I get him back to daycare, I'm actually going to take the day kind of to spend with myself, but I'll have other stuff going on around the house because I'm still in the middle of the ongoing renovation of my bathroom. And dear God, I hope that gets done this week. But if a certain home improvement store doesn't get their shit together, well, then they might not be able to accomplish this. But other than that going on, I'll be spending the day to myself and just kind of what we need to do sometimes. I'm going to try to reset my brain, listening to music, just not trying to think about everything that stresses me out. But anyways, that's what I'm currently dealing with. I wanted to talk to you guys today about how we tend to forget that mental health can be tied to our physical health. I kind of touched on this in the last ep and kind of realized, hey, we could probably visit that again, kind of get into more depth about it. As you know, the last couple of years have been difficult for everybody, just kind of being trapped inside, not really being able to socialize, and just kind of flat out being completely isolated as the world was trying to figure out this pandemic. We don't realize the damage it can do until we actually experience it. We don't or can't get out, and because we had to avoid people for the sake of everyone not trying to get sick, and never really leaving home and seeing loved ones took a toll on us. What I'm getting at is that I lived my life like this long before COVID ever came along. I was always kind of avoiding people and keeping to myself. I mean, partly because I don't have the circle of friends I once had, but also because I kind of daily battle of feeling down on myself. And my physical health went to crap. That was also attributed to just making poor choices. In my 20s, I put on weight. As you can when you become a parent, because you just can't get out and be active as much as you would like. But for, dealing with all of that. And then, I also just didn't want to get out for, just a lot of reasons. So, tied with all of that and, not being healthy physically, naturally my mental health took a fucking nosedive, and it was all just this big clusterfuck of insecurity and misery, and just kind of retreating into myself because my social life went to crap, so I didn't have an outlet or anything. So, as I know I've mentioned in the last couple of episodes, I believe I'm going to try, anyways, to start taking the steps to regain some of that health. Get out and, just get the fuck outside. Get out, walk on trails, walk around town. If I want something to eat, go walk and get it instead of getting in the car. And, just do everything I can to reintroduce some physical exertion just to gain back that sense of self-worth that's kind of been lost through all this. Not just the pandemic, but just in general, because I remember what it was like for me a brief time in my 20s where I was the thinnest I'd ever been. So I was getting compliments, and I had this new sense of confidence and self-esteem. And ever since I lost that, because I spent the better back half of my 20s drinking and hitting up the drive-thrus, and that's a fucking trap, so don't do that. And, I remember what it was like to actually like myself. And that's the biggest struggle of all for some of us, just looking in the mirror saying you like yourself physically or just as a person. And I want to be outgoing, but that's just changed drastically over the last 10 plus years. Unfortunately, it's something I've tried to address the last few summers, but you get so drained by that feeling of, why bother trying to do this for myself when you just feel like crap all the time. And it's brought on this whole new sense of exhaustion when you're trying to deal with being a responsible adult. You may have kids, or you have a very demanding job. So it's just a back and forth. You're consumed by this struggle on top of it all. And that's just a slippery fucking slope of shit, and trying to claw your way back uphill along with the feelings of self-doubt and, telling yourself it doesn't even matter and how things won't ever change for you. Just one thing I can say helps, and it's just something you wouldn't even think about. Just go outside. Go outside on a sunny, warm day, if it's that time of the year or whatever, and just fucking take it in. Take in that sunshine and the vitamin D that it provides, and, just getting out, breathing fresh air, and let go of whatever's weighing you down. Because it's the little shit that we forget can make a big difference in how we view the world or just view our day. Where, you could, versus being trapped inside all day or going outside can just make that complete difference. And another example I want to give, when I was on my last vacation, it was last month, so I was down in Florida with my family. We're staying on a beach. It's the first time I'd been to a beach in fucking years. And we're staying at this beachfront hotel. And it was one of the last nights before we would begin our trip home. And I went out and walked the beach. It was like 10 o'clock at night. So, there's nobody around. It's completely shut down. You got the bars on the beach, which are still going, but it's kind of a dead time. No one's really out. But just taking that time to myself and just walking along, it was, you're hearing just all the waves hit the beach, and it's just one of the most mentally recharging moments I had gotten in so long. And ever since then, I've been just craving more of that, where I can't seem to get that peaceful feeling because, you come back, you got to deal with work and everything. And then that just produces a whole other type of stress. And basically what I'm getting at is, aside from trying to apply some physical action to your day to up your physical health, which will in turn help your mental health, it's those small moments where you appreciate something as small as taking a walk on the beach or taking a walk around town or, wherever you have available to you, I guess. And, just kind of reset your brain. Don't think about the things that stress you out and just kind of let your guard down and just kind of shed the weight of whatever is keeping you from relaxing. All in all, you just definitely don't want to wait until it's too late, till you're in a position where it might be even more difficult to regain that sense of, just feeling better physically so you can work on your mental health. And you don't want it to get to the point where it's either impossible or just hard or anything like that. And one example that really comes to my mind, because, I'm a fan of this guy, is the actor, writer, director Kevin Smith. He had a heart attack a few years ago because the guy, he's always been kind of a big guy. And, because he had been known for his most famous role of Silent Bob from the duo of Jay and Silent Bob. They had a lot of appearances in random movies that were, written by Kevin. And, they had their own movies and everything else. But this guy, he had always been kind of a bigger guy. And he up and had a heart attack. I think he's only in his maybe late 40s, early 50s, somewhere around there. I'm not 100% sure. But he didn't only just have a heart attack. He had a heart attack that is specifically known to be, a very fatal one. It's called the Widowmaker, I believe, where, he barely escaped with his life, all because he was a little bit overweight and just, didn't take that as seriously as he should have. And, ever since then, this guy has been just walking every day. And, he's always saying how it just makes him feel so much better because he's shed all this weight and he's just, kind of rediscovering another side of his life, because he has a daughter, but she's in her 20s, I believe. But, he was just so grateful that this heart attack that could have very easily killed him didn't. And he was able to turn his life around and, like I said, shed all this weight. And I believe that probably had a big effect on his mental health too, because he was able to appreciate things. He was able to appreciate the fact that he can still be around for his daughter and his wife, and he can still go on doing what he loves, which is, being a writer and director and all that stuff. And, it's just those things that we have to take into account. I have 2 children that are very young, and, one thing that I have to worry about as far as my physical health is that diabetes runs in my family. My dad had it. It was a contributing factor to why he's not here with us now, because he didn't take care of himself the way that he should have. My brother has it. I'm at risk to getting it myself, and it's something I'm trying, but I know I could do better at avoiding it, because it's definitely something I don't want to fuck with. I don't want to have to give myself insulin every day or take my fucking blood every day and, check the numbers on it and everything. But it's because, I just have to get it in my head that I need to get out and do more for myself. And, upon improving my physical health, which will be great just because I've kind of more or less just hated myself for quite some time, just because I remember what it was like when I was thin and I had all that confidence and, people noticed me, and just, I remember all the good feelings that came with that. And ever since I lost that because I got into bad habits, I just have been dying to get it back. But it just seems like every time that I've tried and failed, I don't know, it just drives me crazy, because I remember when it happened, when I dropped all that weight. It was, partially because of what I was going through emotionally, but also because, I just wasn't eating because of what had happened. And it was one of those situations where you just dropped all this weight when you weren't even trying. So it's just something that I've been more or less trying to recreate, just, not, and you don't want to be miserable to drop all this weight, but anyways, I wanted to, because I know that I need to get in a better state of mind just for the sake of my physical health. And, like I said, it's just a back and forth where you got to do this to get the other. And, it's just a situation that's been difficult to get out of, where you wake up every day and your mental health and your anxieties and your lack of self-esteem, in my case, just completely prevents you from getting out and tackling these things that you need to do. So this summer, I'm looking at all the things that need done around my house, out in my garage, and out in the yard and everything. It's like I need to tackle these things to better my physical health and in turn better my mental health for the sake of my kids, because I don't want to be in that situation where I'm in my I could be in my 40s or in my 50s and suddenly I have fucking diabetes or I have a heart attack, or there's also the risk of stroke in my family because my mom had a stroke a few years back, but thankfully she bounced back quite a bit. And, she's still able to mostly take care of herself, but she does live with me because she still needs that tiny bit of assistance doing a handful of things. But there's all of these possibilities that are, I'm at risk for. And like I said, it's just a back and forth struggle when you're trying to improve yourself physically, improve yourself mentally, and you just feel like some days you're just never ever going to get there. And with all that just becomes this sense of hopelessness, and you're just like, oh, good, now I have this to fucking contend with. And that's the last goddamn thing you need to deal with, because in my situation, or a lot of people's situations, where you're in charge of what you need to do to improve yourself. I know it's way easier said than done, because you just, like I said, you have these feelings that can hold you back from simply getting out of bed, or walking around the block, or just leaving the house in general. Because a lot of people were kind of confined to their house these last couple of years. So being confined to your house just kind of became the new norm. But thankfully, with the vaccine and everything, it's society's slowly returning to normal. But we're still right in the middle of everything. There's constantly new fucking variants coming out. You never know if you're gonna have one that's just gonna be a slight cold, or one that where the fucking, God forbid, the kill rate of it just jumps, and then we're all back to fucking square one. I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me during the beginning where I was kind of excited for the idea of an apocalypse because of a few of my, like my favorite show, one of my favorite shows, The Walking Dead, and just, game wise, my favorite game I think I've ever played has been The Last of Us, and just, I guess, the idea of a post-apocalyptic world just kind of sounded exciting, but then again, living it would probably be quite the fucking opposite. But yeah, getting back to where everything kind of ties into your physical and emotional health. They say you have to take care of one to take care of the other, which is, in my experience, completely true. Where as when I was actually taking care of it, there was actually a point in my life where, that point where I was, I was losing weight, but also because I was actually working out, or, I was getting out walking on a regular basis. It was really kind of, my younger days when it was just me and my friends. We all kind of, well, at least one of them, we lived close. We lived in the same town and everything, so we would walk to each other's houses all the time, and from that we would walk pretty much everywhere unless we actually had to leave town. So I actually didn't get my license until I was 19, just because we were walking everywhere constantly, and with that walking came all that weight loss and that confidence that I was talking about. And ever since, I got out of the habit of taking walks, and basically just because adult life kind of intervened, where you couldn't really just take off whenever you wanted because you had other responsibilities in other places. But ever since I lost that, that's when all that weight came back, and then that sense of self-worth went to crap, and just everything went completely the opposite for me. And ever since then, I've just been struggling to get that back. So, I guess that's just kind of where we'll leave it. You have to take care of yourself physically and mentally for that emotional health, for your mental health, and all around for your physical health. You really got to put in the work, and it's something that I struggle with all the time because I know that I need to take better care of myself. I just, you're constantly battling with those thoughts in the back of your head that say, don't bother, just fuck it, just chill out for the night or whatever the case may be. But anyways, I think we're going to close it off from there. I hope you appreciated this episode, and I hope you learned something from it. As always, you can catch me on Spotify and Amazon and Google, and I know there's some other little ones out there, like I think Samsung Podcasts and a couple others, but, until next time, thank you for listening, and, also if you wanted to send any words of encouragement or any ideas for the podcast or just any kind of feedback, really, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at ALLeffedUP Pod. So until next time, guys, thanks for listening. Take care.